What is going on, our friends in film fandom, wherever you may be, and however you may be watching and or listening? We appreciate you being here and giving us just a little bit of your time. We are, of course, The Harsh Truth, and this time I can't say my joke, because damn it, he is here. He is here to play. It is Frank and Tex and myself. But I'm still not going to say my name, because I don't want to ruin the joke completely. But, yeah. We're back once again. We're going to keep the zombie train rolling right through jolly old London town. You can't tell from the thumbnail and all the description and all that madness. Anywho, what's going on, everybody? Let's talk some more zombies. And again, I'm not Frank, but he is, of course, up there. That is Frank, the heart of the channel. So how are you this evening? Now that you're finally back from the internet hell, the seventh circle of hell.
Yeah, bigger house leads to bigger internet issues instead of all, like, basically everything that we use the internet for being in one room, with the exception of our TVs. Now internet is on the other side and other floor of the house. So that led to some connectivity problems, but I've got it dealt with for right now, and I will strengthen it as time goes on. But yeah, I'm just letting Jeremy do some things tonight, get his sea legs, because he'll be taking the reins on a more regular basis. So yeah, let's friggin' rock and roll, man. Let's go.
Yeah, what they say about big houses, big internet.
I'm right. I learned that.
Yeah, yeah, it's something like that. Speaking of where things are always bigger, we also, of course, have our resident horror expert, the shape from the Lone Star State. We have Tex in the house. And how are you this evening, sir?
Well, I figured this was a zombie movie, so we were talking about zombie prep. So in case I get hungry during the review, I brought one of my dogs if I need a snack. So yeah, we'll be fine. I don't want to eat him, but push comes to shove, and I can't get to Whataburger. Poor dog's gonna have to suffice.
There's got to be some joke to be made about Tex and his dog and Casey and his dog. I'm gonna let you guys say that in the chat.
Well, but the difference between Casey and I is I love my animals, and they're only they're part of the prep. Casey looks at his as a lover. Dinner. It's just a whole nother kind of thing with Casey.
I think he looks at it a different way. Yeah.
Well, the poor dog can't get the punch. Casey's dog can't get the taste of peanut butter out of its mouth, and we all know why. But we don't want to talk about that. So it's pretty gross.
Are we having problems already? Apparently, my mom can only see me. I mean, at least you see the most important person. That's what matters.
I don't know. I'm
got him
on YouTube and Rumble, and I can see everything just fine.
So I'm not sure. I don't get a chance.
No idea.
Kick you guys out. Okay. I don't know then. That's really weird. Oh wait, is everybody on the stream?
Okay, we're just ghosts in the machine.
I don't know. Yeah, see, she's not biased or anything, but she agrees. I don't know. That's really weird. I don't know. Maybe try to refresh it.
I smell nepotism with her comments. It's all because you're blood related. To swear to God.
Frank lets me run one show, and it's I already got too big for my britches. Amazing. All right. It looks fine. All right. Well, I would say maybe try refreshing it. Maybe come back, but at least you can hear me. That's the important part, because I'm going to say some words. Like I said, we're here. Good Lord. Continuing the zombie train. Not the train to Busan, but this is, in fact, 28 weeks later.
Good one.
I know. See how I handle that? It's like I'm an actor or something. So anyway, 28 weeks later is a 2007 post-apocalyptic horror film directed by Juan Carlos Fresnadillo, who also co-wrote the screenplay. It also serves as a standalone sequel to 28 Days Later from 2002, which we have previously reviewed. And this is also the second installment of the film series of the same name. The movie stars Robert Carlyle, Rose Byrne, Jeremy Renner, Harold Perrineau, Catherine McCormack, and Idris Elba. I moved my arrow. I'm blocking my words. It is set in the events, after the events, rather, of the first film, depicting the efforts of United States-led NATO forces to establish a safe zone in London. The consequence of two young siblings breaking protocol to find a photograph of their mother and the resulting reintroduction of the rage virus into the safe zone. Released on May 11th of 2007 in the United Kingdom and United States, the film received positive reviews from critics and grossed over $65 million worldwide against a reported budget of $15 million. See, that's the numbers we like to see here. On Rotten Tomatoes, 72% of 196 critics' reviews were positive. The website's consensus reads, quote, while 28 weeks later lacks the humanism that made 28 Days Later a classic, it's made up for it with fantastic atmosphere and a punchy direction. A sequel, 28 Years Later, is scheduled for release on June 20th of 2025, as we have all known and said to nauseum. I'm so excited. But to get there first, we got to wait a couple weeks. 28 weeks to be in fact. So I'll start with Frank. Give me your just kind of overview of how you felt about 28 weeks later.
I thought it compared to, like, we talk about great sequels, too, that are brought up all the time, are Terminator 2 and Aliens. But a lot of people don't realize that the big difference between those sequels and the originals were that they were much more actiony, and they weren't very nichey. They weren't horror movies the way that the originals were. This one, I kind of got the same feeling as I was rewatching it this time, whereas the first one had a lot of low budget appeal, and I heard you guys talking about kind of the film quality, how comparing it to the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that grainy sepia feel. This one definitely was more of an action-driven thing, which is okay, and it worked for me, but it was definitely a different approach, a different take. But still a pretty good movie overall. Bigger stars. I mean, Jeremy Renner was already a pretty big star at this point, obviously before Hawkeye and some of the other things that he's done since, but he was already a pretty big star. Rose Byrne. I mean, obviously there were some pretty big stars in this that kind of carried it all. Overall, a good movie, just different, more evolved in several ways.
Oh, I definitely agree. You always got to go bigger on the sequel. Tex, you're up, Hoss.
Sure.
What did you think about 28 weeks later?
Well, leave it to a couple bratty kids to restart the apocalypse. Go fucking figure. But no,
is it because they're kids or because they're Brits?
Hey, I stand by my comment of it is perfectly acceptable for children to die in horror films. This is just another example that I'm right about that true. But Frank's spot on with if 28 days later almost plays out like an art house kind of low budget horror film, whereas this is the bigger budget action horror. I think you could honestly say this is more action than it is horror, but it's pretty even. It's a split that I'm fine with. You get plenty of horror stuff in here, especially once Dad goes bonkers and starts eating on people. But the bigger stars, the bigger budget. America and NATO coming in trying to clean things up. You can definitely feel the action. Oh, not the action, but the stakes of the film have been turned up once you see, they're going to firebomb the whole city, yada, yada, whatever. And it's like I said last week, I actually prefer this one over the original, and I'm sure I'm in the minority on that. But there's a lot of good elements within this film. It's just the saddest part about this movie is this movie came out like 5 years too late when zombie films were already in boom, and you had Dawn of the Dead back. Romero was back. And so many zombie films were back, and this movie kind of got overlooked, unfortunately.
Well, at least it didn't come up before that little indie show called Walking Dead. At least it beat that one.
Right.
By about 3 years, but to be fair, it beat
that one. If Walking Dead heavily benefited from this series, I will say that. But,
I definitely agree.
Right.
Yeah, putting it into that kind of perspective, what I kind of thought about when you compare 28 days to 28 weeks, it kind of reminds me of, and we reviewed these films, it reminds me of the Alien films, where it's like Alien is actually, that's straight up a horror movie. That's no doubt.
Alien is a sci-fi horror film. Aliens 2
that is some horror shit. Right. Yeah, and then like 2 is kind of you bump it up, you get more action, you get a little more more of Ripley kicking some ass with, some guns and some flamethrowers.
Get away from her, you bitch.
Right. So kind of feels the same way. It's like 28 days is getting your foot in the door there, and I can appreciate, like we said, we can appreciate it for its innovative ability to go out there and film for 5 minutes, and suddenly you have a whole movie. You get like 5 minutes here in the morning, and then we got to overturn this double decker and get back to our morning commute. And I can appreciate that kind of thing. It's sometimes the guerrilla style of filming is just interesting to me. It feels kind of dangerous because it probably is. But I mean, now that it's cemented its success, and then again, what do I always say? You got to go big with the sequel, and I think this one definitely did that. It definitely kind of upped it, and rightfully kind of led its way into what you would think happened, because we left off with these infected that are starving to death. So everything looks all bright and shiny until it's not. So because of course we got to have sequels, and I don't really remember this movie very much. I think I watched it once, and after seeing it now, I think I might have a small theory about 28 years, but we'll get to that when we get to that. Okay. So first, Lord Jesus, I picked a good time to clear my throat for this next hour and a half. So anywho, I can't, since these pictures are like smaller than shit. Who we got? What is that? That's somebody dying, so we'll use that. I was talking about the cast. The cast of this movie, like we talked about, Jeremy Renner, Rose Byrne, for sure, Idris Elba. I mean, we know these people now. I think this was like Jeremy Renner's first real big action. I can tell it's him. I love that shot. That's awesome. My kind of character right there. I can always appreciate the sniper in any movie, any video game, because usually it's me. But yeah, what do you guys think about the cast? Frank, is there anybody stood out to you, or does it work in the cast in the chemistry between everybody?
Yeah, I really liked the cast. I was disappointed, however, in the way that some of them were used. I feel like that while Jeremy Renner is obviously he's the good looking guy and stuff like that they want to kind of showcase him, but I feel like Rose Byrne's doctor character did not really she should have been the one that kind of carried some things, and I really don't feel like she was used the right way. I do, however, like the dynamic for at least the first part of the movie between the dad and the kids, especially after seeing what we saw in the opening scene of the film. You're trying to decide how you feel about him, leaving his wife and those other people behind to get away. I mean, in one way you sympathize with him, and another way you're kind of a douchebag, and I kind of want you to die really fast. But I feel like that as much as they tried to rest a lot of this on good-looking Jeremy Renner, there was a lot of great character work they could have done that they didn't, and I think they kind of wasted a few opportunities because the cast as a whole, I mean, the performances were great. I mean, I can't knock any of them. There was nobody in this movie that was kind of just occupying space. They all had, I mean, same thing with Idris Elba. I mean, at this point, when this movie is made, already a pretty big star. He's been around for a while. He's always been, great looking, authoritative, everything that I wish I was. But and even he's just kind of like, he's in the movie to spit the lines that you expect the jerk military guy to spit. And he's not, you don't really use his acting ability that much. So, I mean, I feel like I feel like the story could have changed to where you focus on the dichotomy between what these characters want out of the situation, rather than just showing Jeremy Renner for as much as you can. And then his, heroic sudden death at the end of the movie. Oh. And then they walk into Wembley Stadium, get on the helicopter, fly away, and the movie is over. It's like, well, I just the way they approached, the way they used the characters was kind of disappointing to me. Who was great? All of them. I actually kind of like the kid too. I mean, normally the kids in these movies are kind of annoying, but and he had moments where I was kind of like, okay, I've seen enough of him. Cute blonde British kid. Okay, I get it. But even he was actually pretty good in the moments that he had to carry a scene. Like him going balls out and running around and running down the alley in a zigzag to try to get that sniper to expose his position so Jeremy Renner can take him out. By the way, it seems like in every movie he's ever been in, he's been a crack shot with a weapon or a bow and arrow or whatever. But this was like,
I wonder if Kevin Feige saw this and thought, one day
This was
One
like
day we're gonna
10 years before we saw him make his first little appearance in Thor, and he's already like, I'm not gonna miss, and I'm like, come on, we've already heard this, but yeah, that move was kind of bold, and I was like, holy shit, if I was an 11, 12-year-old kid in that situation, I'd be looking for the heaviest rock to crawl under and hide until this whole thing was over. He's like, I'm gonna go run and draw this gunfire, and I'm like, okay, you go, kid, you go. But yeah, the cast was fantastic. It was good performances. I just don't think they were used very well.
Yeah, all right. So Tex, what about you? What do you think about the cast? Does everybody stood out to you? Do you agree with Frank? Does it feel maybe misused, or do you think everybody did their part?
Yeah, well, for me, it comes down to three for me. Idris Elba is amazing in this film, but like Frank just said, they don't give him enough to chew on within this film. I would have loved to have seen him more expanded. I mean, just his line delivery alone of, if it comes back, we kill it. Like the way he's so commanding in that line, you believe every word. And then once again with Rose, the doctor, she like. Unfortunately, this is one of those zombie films or infected films, whatever, where you get 5 minutes of a character and then boom, they're dead. And that's one of the things that I don't like about zombie media at times is they're just playing out a formulaic plot of, oh, okay, now that you know this person, they're gone. And then thirdly, the mom. I mean, think about it. She goes from acting cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs in the house when they find her, to playing her best, oh, I'm possessed by God knows what in my DNA. Like, good acting doesn't mean you tear up a script and you have 10 pages of dialogue. She is tremendous in this film. And, especially the scenes with her and that coward husband of hers, when he's in there trying to, oh, I'm sorry, la-di-da, and she's like, you know what, motherfucker, I got something for you. And she gives him the one for. There's a lot of good acting here. Of course, Jeremy Renner's good in the film. The only criticism I would say about him is when he's having to take down the people in the streets and he can't decide who's infected and who's not. I feel conflicted. Like, that's kind of all right, whatever. Just start pulling triggers and taking people out. They're all going to die, whether or not you shoot them or not. So you might as well, do some mercy killings. But yeah, there's a lot. Like I said, those three for me, I couldn't pick out of them, but I really enjoyed all of them.
I was gonna say maybe you want to face some war crimes, but to be fair, I think that's out the window. Also,
war crimes don't count when rage monsters are biting your face off. I think that kind of goes out the window.
I thought it was more of like, I was like, I wouldn't even know who to be shooting either. And I'm like, don't want to waste all my ammo because do I even know which one was effective? That was my problem.
Just to say,
too chaotic.
A sniper at that point is not effective. You want somebody with like a belt-fed machine gun to be more effective than anything.
You need somebody with some heavier artillery than just
or a bunch of fire bombs.
Like, no,
drop in the street. That could work too.
Or torch the whole town. I mean, that's also an option. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, I know. Me and I always try to pick somebody in the cast that was like kind of a side character or somebody who really stood out. But I mean, I can't. It's my hands are tied. Again, I'll go back to it. It's Jeremy Renner. Like, I try to think of the context of like I being removed from like, I know he's Hawkeye. I know he was in one of the Byrne movies. I know that.
Byrne movies, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, but this is like before all that. I'm like, this is probably like really his first big breakout. And I was like, I mean, damn. Like, I was like, yeah, dude's got it. Like, somebody, obviously, like you said, Kevin Feige, somebody saw him and said, yeah, get this man a bow and arrow or something, because he never misses. But yeah, I thought he played a pretty good character. I kind of agree with Frank. I don't know why we didn't really lean anymore, especially in a infected zombie apocalypse movie, to the doctor a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of, I mean,
if they had played more to the doctor,
there's a spoiler alert. I'm sorry, she fucking dies and just kind of dies out of nowhere. And I know this is a rage movie where people die like that, but I was kind of like, really? No? That's it?
Well, go back to last week whenever we were reviewing 28 Days Later, how that film was an homage to Romero's original trilogy, Night, Dawn, and Day. they could have done another Day of the Dead with the whole female doctor, from Day of the Dead premise with Rose in this film, and really had her carry more of it. But they went with more of the traditional American action shoot 'em up flick with Jeremy Renner out. So
yeah. I mean, it's like when we're sitting here watching Last of Us, no one's complaining that there's not enough shooting zombies in the dome. It's like, well, here you go. I mean, what do you want now? Is it too much? Is it not enough? I don't know.
Well, yeah, that's how hard it is to strike the balance, because that was kind of my knock on the first movie, was there's so much character work. You only really have like that last scene where it gets really intense. The rest of it just kind of happens in spurts. It seems like it only happens in the first movie because it wants to take an opportunity for a jump scare, and then when the jump scare is over, okay, we're right back to all the dialogue and the character stuff. And I'm like, I kind of want to see some scary people getting eaten. It's like that's kind of a part of it's part of the recipe, and if the recipe's off, then the cake's not going to taste quite right. So I mean, this movie did that a lot better for sure, but. Again, they just kind of wasted some of their great talent.
I mean, just the fact that this type of virus or whatever is as unrelenting and brutal as it is, I think that was what gave it the spice, because you're like, yeah, you get infected. I mean, that's it. You're done. Like 10 seconds. Boom. Now you're infected, and it just, spreads like wildfire. Literally. That's how we get.
Now there is one
back to having London all taken over again.
And there was one thing I had a question about in this movie, though, because we saw in 28 Days Later, literally, if these rage infected don't feed within X amount of time, they die out pretty fast. They last like 5 weeks in this movie. Like, is the virus changing? Is it something going on? Which I think that may touch on in the third film. But
see, I had a theory. I think I was
well, because we clearly see people within 28 days look like husks of human beings. They lasted 5 weeks.
They still have to feed. Yeah,
right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So either the virus is morphing into something else, which every zombie property ever has done that.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know. I've got questions when it comes to that.
Okay, apparently my mom is in fact back, but also says remind her not to eat cake when she's with Frank and Jennifer.
Hey, my recipes are always on point. You asked your son and daughter-in-law how well I cook.
That's true. A lot of the times when Frank asks me, like, "Hey, you want to come over?" and it's then, "Hey, I'm making this on the grill, or I'm making this in the kitchen." It's always led up with, "Hey, I have food," and I'm like, "You had me at the first part, but you have to sell it to me." To the zombies, or the infected. I mean, that was the tagline, right? That's been led up to this 28 years later, is that it was 28 days it started, 28 weeks it spread, and then 28 years it's evolved. And when it says to me it evolved, I'm like, well, wait, obviously, because now we're about pushing 30 years into an apocalypse. I'm like, well, clearly, right? So something happened. Like I said, I think I have a theory as to why, and I can't say I'm going to be able to explain it, but I think I can plant the seed there, which segues us really neatly into the plot. I need to get back to the pictures. What is that? Looks like fire. That looks like a Starry Night painting gone wrong or something. So what do you guys think of the plot? So we got people being reintroduced back into Britain slowly by a United States-led NATO forces trying to reintegrate people into London, and of course, it never goes right. We have the mom, who is an asymptomatic carrier of the virus, meaning she has it but does not show symptoms. So that's kind of a interesting wrench in the works. And of course, like Tex alluded to, it's real awkward when you. I'm not saying we're all going to be, the next Rick Grimes. We're not going to be Negan. You call him a coward, but I'm like, man, with a virus like that, you'd run too. And he did see his wife get yoinked out of that window. It's like, okay, she's probably dead. But to awkwardly find out your wife lived, it's like, oh, hey, so about that, right? And like Tex said, he gets bit on the lip, or he gets spit swabbed. I don't know what happened, but it doesn't really matter.
I think it's on the tongue or the lip or something when
I thought maybe it's a.
I can't tell.
No. She said that she's asymptomatic, but she's a carrier, that it's in her blood and her saliva. So when they
Right.
kiss,
I thought it
that
was just
saliva,
spit, yeah.
the saliva
Right.
swapping a little bit of spit when you're kissing your wife. That's what happens.
Yeah, well,
You
that's
get
true.
the virus,
Actually, you know,
then all hell breaks loose. So
right.
Yeah, and then that's essentially what happens. And I think the main other point is not only, I mean, it doesn't bode well for the mom because she's strapped down to a table, but the two kids, they think, or at least Rose Byrne seems to think that might be a step forward to the cure. So that's essentially your movie. I mean, along with Jeremy Renner trying to get the whole gang and company out of London. So we'll keep going around the bend. Frank, what do you think about the plot? Does that plot work for you? Is it a good sequel, follow-up? Being detached from the first in a way, but still in the same world.
yeah, this is my problem with sequels, is that so many times it's just a rehash of the same situation. We could have just gone in and said, and one of the things I'll do with sequels like this is they might go back to the beginning and just follow somebody else. So we're just seeing the same thing over and over again, just from a different perspective, which sometimes is okay, but you still have to keep the situation kind of fresh. The fact that it's afterwards, we start the movie thinking that okay, it just happened in the UK. These people that were infected all just starved to death. This, whatever it is, kind of ran its course, and now we're going to get back to normal. And then, 5 years from now, everything's going to be good, right? No, it's like it's a combination of this rage virus still exists. It's a combination of lack of foresight by the powers that be, mostly these NATO people. The generally bad reaction when stuff does happen again. And people, quite frankly, being dumb. And let's face it, the whole reason this movie happens is because a maintenance man has high-level security on a NATO base.
Yeah.
I try really, really hard not to see things like this, but trying to be logical. Because Aaron came over last weekend, and we were watching some 80s movie, and it was like the same thing happened in that movie. I'm like, high-level government facility, and you're just walking this husband and wife in there because they knew this kid for a month. He's a contractor. He's not like a high-level CIA anybody. She's a housewife, and he's a contractor who builds buildings. They don't have anything to offer national security. Why are you walking them right into this thing? And it's kind of the same thing. It's like it's almost like they were making fun of me as the viewer when he's just like constantly scanning his card through all these checkpoints, and I'm like, does this guy also have access to the nuclear weapons? Does he also have access to flying stealth? I mean, do they just look at him and be like, "You're cool, go ahead and go through"? That's like, come on. And that's
he's got the briefcase on his janitor card
because the movie, because like the marketing. Because I watch the trailers and stuff too as we lead up to these reviews of older movies, just because I just want to know. I just want to remember what it's like to watch the trailers. In the trailers, they even kind of put it out like it's these kids that leave the safe zone to go find a picture of their mother, and then all hell breaks loose. So it gives you the impression that these kids are the one that do it. These kids didn't do anything wrong. They went and got the picture. They found their mom, and all that was fine. But it's the fact that this guy just swaps this little key card right through all these secured areas, and I'm like, but whatever. I mean, I can't say that if I found out that my wife, who I thought was dead, is still alive, I wouldn't want to see her. But I don't know that as a maintenance man of Building 23 in London somewhere that I'm going to have high-level security access to NATO medical facilities in the midst of a rage virus outbreak. I was just kind of like, come on. I tried not to see those things, and I try to just let the film wash over me, stuff my face full of popcorn, and just watch. But sometimes I'm just like, come on, dude. You got to make the characters earn it. That to me is just kind of lazy writing. It's like we have to have a way to explain why he's in there. Let's just say that he's the lead maintenance guy of Building 18. He's just like,
they could have at least had a scene where he's swaps a key card from somebody or something.
That would have made sense.
That could have
that. Because that would have made sense, because he's like, he wants to see his wife, he wants to explain to her, maybe apologize to her for being a douchebag running on her. Which even then, I mean, like you can see the situation beginning to be both ways. It's like, do you go back and probably get eaten trying to save your wife, or do you just
that right there
just look at it realistically and be like, this is how it's going to go if I can get away, whatever. I mean, look, we've never been in that situation ourselves, thank God, but I mean, it's like. You gotta put somebody in that situation to make the movie look more intriguing, to set up the stuff. But I too would want to get in there. But I mean, like, at least him stealing somebody else's key card, that would have made sense. I'd have been like, oh, okay, That completely eliminates the idea of this fucking maintenance guy just like getting through all this security. I mean, does he have access to all the guns? Can he just go in there and get a rifle and go up there next to security Renner and start popping rounds off at random people? It's like, just make sure the air conditioning works in my building. I don't need you to run national security for the UK at the same time. but whatever. I mean, look, the plot works. It was a different angle. I like the fact that it's a long time later. Because like so many of these movies, it's just like we go back for a sequel and it's just post-apocalyptic. Great. And we go back for their sequels. Oh, it's still post-apocalyptic. It's just different people. And I'm like, there's only so many stories you can tell. The fact that we start this movie in a good place, we've dealt with the virus, it's gone away, and now we're trying to get life back to normal in the UK. The hell breaks loose again. That was a much better way of doing things than I think they could have. So, but yeah, with the exception of some lazy writing about him and his magical key card that gets him through all the security checkpoints, I was okay with everything. I thought it was a good way to do things.
I mean, the janitor's always got the biggest ring of keys. I mean, the doors stay from him.
He didn't even take his keys. One key card. He goes through all the security.
Well, I thought it was like it's a separate building, right? I thought
it was a skeleton key, Frank. It was super easy, barely an inconvenience.
I was looking to find the right one that would make sense. I would buy that. But he just like beep, 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 all green lights all the way. I'm like, okay, dude, whatever.
Flag.
Exactly.
Flag. Yeah, I mean, in fact, I thought maybe like to the high rise, to like the living quarters would make sense, but not to like the government building. Yeah, maybe make that make sense. But anywho, Tex, what do you think of the plot? Key cards aside, does it work for you? Or we
yeah, I like this
MacGuffin key card.
Well, I'll let Frank stand on that hill, and I'll keep marching forward. But I like this plot, but the plot of this movie feels like it should have been the third film, not the second. Because yes, it's great to see. Okay, we're 28 weeks later. It feels like there's a missing movie. Like, what is the point of movies? Show, don't tell, right? So I want to see where's the 28, or where's the 14, all the cleanup that happened, everything else. How did NATO get put into this? Like, as a, much like you, a veteran of 15,000 episodes of Walking Dead, it conditions you to, processing things like this in a certain way, which I like this plot with, obviously the MacGuffins of the key card and Idris Elba. He's very kind of one note, but still awesome in this movie. The plot works. The whole thing about, is the dad a coward or not? I mean, okay, obviously he starts off fooling around with his wife, and then the creepy old lady wants to join in for a three-way. So that's a hell of a way to start the drama.
It's their house, to be fair. They're snogging in their fucking like kitchen, man. That ain't
and then okay, yes, the infected come out and run. I can understand the whole fight or flight thing. To me, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But if my kids are in that house, I'm not leaving. Wife, maybe not. Kids, I'm willing to die at that point in time. To me is the ultimate determining factor of you're a coward, you're a piece of shit. And I mean, obviously that's a plot point later on in the film that leads to the whatever, and the kids go back to the zones and yada yada. But the plot works. It's like my main issue is not the security guard. It's what I pointed out earlier. This is one of those zombie films where you see a character for 5 minutes, and their only job is to get them to the next point, and then they go for Jeremy Renner goes from shooting people on the roof to, I'm going to get you to safety, and then I'm burning up and I'm on the ground. Oh, and here's the next character that's going to get you to the next step. Another one that was bad about that was Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead that came out on Netflix a couple of years ago. The kids get everybody in that movie killed too. It's a trope that I don't like about zombie filmmaking that I wish we could do a little bit differently with something like Train to Busan that you touched on earlier. Very smart, by the way. Does not do that. But, the plot works for what it is. It just feels like this is the third film, not the second in the trilogy.
Yeah. As for me, I like the plot of this movie because I mean I like the fact that this world with this particular virus, not the world, at least the UK, with how fragile that can be. It's like it's kind of crazy to think that okay, I mean even it's just little flashes on the screen of this many days later, this many days, this many weeks. And it's like we're leading up to okay, so now we're here at this point where everything is seemingly getting back to normal. We're kind of getting people back into the country. This might be a little bit new way of life. We still got cleanup to do, you know, get a little containment zone going, and anything outside of that, we'll just slowly, you know, clean it up. But it takes just one damn thing, and then it's just like that again.
Yeah.
You know, I love the fragility of this world, which I mean, for a sequel, sure, why not? That's a cool way to set it off again. I think not the only thing. There is something else, and we're gonna keep harping on this dad. But first, I want to talk about
he deserves
it. This dude is English, playing an American general, which I think is a little awkward, but I found that kind of funny. But whatever. He, like we said, I can wax poetical about Idris Elba all day. Dude's pretty fantastic. I think now that we've talked about this key card, it might give a little bit of a joke to what my next point that I wanted to say was. I can suspend a lot of disbelief here, but the amount of goddamn times this one twat, the fucking dad, shows up in every goddamn place they're at. Right. How is it every single time? Oh, there's the dad. There's the dad. There's the dad. There's the dad again as an infected. I'm like, dude, we have gone 4 miles out of town and this fucker is still here. I'm like, I get it. You gotta have the emotional moment. Like, oh, the kid sees him. Or, I mean, the mom makes sense because they're in the same plat. But, like, they piss off to, like, the fucking subway. There's dad. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. You lock the kid in the room with all the other people because they're going to keep them safe because that's ever worked in a movie. Guess who's the guy who comes through the door and busts it down and starts eating everybody? It's the dad. I'm like, that key card is putting in some fucking work because this dude is everywhere. Apparently. That's the only thing I kind of had to suspend my disbelief about. That it was starting to fall off because I'm like, I don't believe that he's just everywhere. Like,
well, that
maybe he was going to be at the.
His random appearances, though, as they're off on their journey through the movie, it also sets up that final scene where he's attacking the kid and the daughter has to shoot him.
Yeah.
Because ultimately that scene it's more than just one kind of thing. It's more than an action scene. It's more than a scary scene. It's more than an emotional scene. It is all those things. So that one kind of gives the viewer sensory overload. So there's going to be people like Tex. They're going to be just like, "Yay, shoot this fucking guy!" And there's going to be other people. They're going to be they're going to get really wrapped up with the emotion of it all. Like, this girl's got to shoot her dad, who was already essentially lost. But I mean, she's got to shoot her own dad to save her brother. And then there's also, you know, people that are going to see it from her point of view, where it's like she's very emotionally blown up by the whole thing. Is there that question of, is there some piece of him still in there? Is there some part of his brain that's like subconsciously saying over and over again, "Shoot me so I don't kill my son. Shoot me so I don't kill your brother. Shoot me because I don't want to exist like this." That's something that's never. I mean, even Walking Dead got to the point where they were just like, we can't just have zombies walking around eating anybody anymore. We have to have the smart zombies that somehow grow part of their brains back.
Yeah.
And every long running zombie thing kind of runs into that. Kind of runs into that problem. Is, you know, what we have the zombies that are around eating brains, because after about 17 seasons of that Walking Dead, it gets a little. So yeah, it sets up that moment where she has to make that decision to pull the trigger on her own dad. So it made sense.
Well,
also there's kind of a ghostly quality about the character that he's kind of haunting the kids in a way. So as opposed, I think that's one of the reasons why he doesn't attack them at various points in the movie. He's just always in the background. He's always there. I feel like he was probably not physically there in physical form, but it was just like the spirit of him was what was following these kids around until eventually they run across each other in the tube station, and, you know, she has to bust Captain's ass.
Well, and it's also like, you're going to tell me he sat there and survived London getting completely fucking firebombed too. Like, you just see him like hiding in, like, you know, the Independence Day bunker, like Will Smith's girlfriend hides this one little fucking door and the whole city gets torched and she lives. And I'm like, I think maybe for me, it just kind of got like, it overwhelmed its stay a little bit. I would have been fine if like it could have just been any random infected, but the problem is I think the only one at that point might have been the dad, maybe a couple soldiers. But I'm like, I feel like you can still have that emotional punch. It's like, oh, that's that final confrontation of the dad and the daughter in the subway, and him having just bit his own son's neck. It's like, okay, but if you're gonna show up like 20 more times in a movie, I'm like, okay, but really though.
As far as the dad in that role, that's the insert slasher hero, where you see somehow Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees appears everywhere, just throughout the film, just to remind you they're there, to get up to the final set piece where, you know, they finally get took care of. You know, you can see, I think one of the worst offenders would be like Jason Takes Manhattan. Like one group of kids separates in the middle of New York City, and somehow Jason finds every single one of them without issue when they split up. Like, it's the slasher effect. That's what I'm saying. This is
It was super easy, barely an inconvenience.
I was actually thinking about using that one for the whole key card thing.
I know.
Like, how do we get him back in there with the key card? Is he going to steal something?
You know, it's, you know, some movies like this use this role of, oh, it's not actually him, it's they're seeing them in their head, or it was a dream, or whatever. But it's all that is just a plot device to keep the story moving forward, to just build up to that final, you know, showdown with dad, and have that emotional bang, you know, of, oh, just like Frank and you were saying a minute ago, I got to kill dad to save brother. But you know what? If we're ever in a zombie apocalypse, y'all are going to need somebody like me who's emotionally dead on the inside. Or if we have to go pull some triggers, you know what? Send him. He'll do it. You know, it'll be fine. So everybody has a role. Not everybody can be Rick. Sometimes you have to be a Shane or a Merle. I'm just saying. So, you know, you do what you need to do.
As the joke I saw the other day, it was you know, it's like we like to think we're Rick Grimes, and it was a little montage of Bob from The Walking Dead. And it's like, it's just me limbering along with a machete over my shoulders, like mind. I'm like,
Merle's my boy. I love Merle. He's always my favorite Walking Dead character. But that's what I'm saying. Hey, this is but within this world, you're going to have to make hard decisions. You know, somebody's going to turn, and you may have to kill your best friend, or, you know, whoever it is. You have to, you know, check your emotions at the door. Be like, all right, are we going to live, or are we going to love each other till we die? Like, you know, what's it worth to you? Kind of thing.
All right. Well, just one last thing on the plot, I would say, like, so what about the ending? So how do you guys feel about the ending? With it, I mean, we'll get to the trivia about it, but I think we're on a larger scale now. Where's that pic? There it is. I love that final shot. That shit.
Great final shot.
I love that.
It's not just that shot, but this film opens with a wide running shot and it ends with it. I love how they framed this movie with those shots. You know, that wide swooping. See, that's one thing that I like that they did with this film as well, is this film doesn't have the sepia tone filter, but it still has the hand cam kind of shakiness to it, which makes you feel on edge when you watch.
Right there.
Yeah, it's got that golden hour look to it too, as well.
Right.
In this
right. That's what I'm saying.
There's your dawn.
It takes you back to the chaos, because 28 Days Later is a art house horror film that's chaotic. It's the beginning. Now we're sometime later. Now we get to this scene. Oh shit, it's starting back up. What's going on? And, you know, for this to end on this shot, it's like, oh my God, you know, are they going to climb, you know,
it didn't work.
The tower? What are they going to do? You know, who knows? You
know? Yeah, I'll take that as a Frank. What about you? What do you think about that ending right there?
I love the ending. I mean, for one, obviously they were going to set it up for a sequel, because if you've made one sequel, you may as well make 20 in Hollywood. But yeah, it kind of made sense. It's like, not only was that a great shot, but I mean, as you're watching it, you're like, this was always going to kind of get out of the lab. So why not say that it's not, because that was a big question after the first movie, was it just the UK? Did it spread farther? So it's like, as you saw Cillian Murphy standing there, and he's the hello sign, and there's hopefulness.
You think he saw us?
Yeah, the question is what else is out there? I mean, did it spread? Does it stop here? That's a question that you're left with. And I that's what I'm saying about how I love they answered the question by saying that it kind of died out and then it started again. But not only did it start again, now it's in Paris, so it's left. It's crossed the channel.
On mainland now.
Now it's in Europe, and that's a big problem. And so obviously it's set up for whatever might come next. And what came next, however many years, 20 years later, we're getting 28
years.
In a couple of days. So it's a good setup for whatever direction they wanted to go with it next. It was a great setup, but it was a solid ending. And again, that's a fantastic shot.
I love that. That is a horrifying.
You don't see any blood. It's just you just know who they are. You hear that.
Exactly what you're looking at.
You hear that the French guy talking, saying
the pilot saying we need help.
Yeah, so, and that it's happening somewhere else again, and that this ride that we're on with these rage zombies isn't over yet. So yeah, it's I thought it was a really cool ending, especially if you want to try to set it up for a sequel. Now the question then becomes, what's next?
Actually, what's next is effects, because I somehow didn't realize that might would give us the fourth question. But
I actually changed something a couple of minutes ago. I don't know if you'd seen it or not, but
what'd you do? Oh, I didn't.
I added something onto the notes. Well, you'll get to it. It's after effects.
What to expect from the third film?
Yeah, that one. But we can do the effects.
Oh, it was right there. Yeah. No, for sure.
Fuck it, we'll do it live. We're editing live as we go through.
I thought it was already there. Oh god damn it. Well, it was only a matter of time before our own little rage infected just showed us sprinted on in here to the show. At least he's behaving, so whatever that means. So, first time for everything. It's the first time every single time. Oh goddamn. Anywho, there's a picture of an infected somewhere. Yeah, there's the dad.
Cool shot.
So, how about these effects? Like I said, we got a little bit bigger budget, a little bit more stuff to play with. I'm actually going to go to Tex first, since I know this is kind of your wheelhouse and mine as well. What do you think about the effects in this film, maybe compared to the first?
Oh, compared to the first, it's apples and oranges. I mean, the effects in the first movie, you could tell they were low budget, and they benefited from being low budget with that film. This, you could tell they spent the money. I mean, just the blood and the gore shots alone are worlds better than the first movie. Even kind of the infected seem more violent, like in this, like even when they're first turning, the way that they're biting, scratching, going at people, the way that they had it's the rage is better in this movie. It seems like they had more like I don't know if they went with a brighter color blood or if it's just the color palette of the first movie turned it darker, but the brighter color blood really works. And I mean, being a blood guy with the haunted house stuff, the coloring of blood really can set a tone here. And the way, especially like when whenever Don first turns, he's been infected from the wife. You start seeing him like drool the blood out. And he's snarling like a pit bull. Yeah, like that almost. deep red. That's like guttural blood that's coming out. I love the color of that. I mean, and that's why so many films they get harsher ratings because of the blood color. Hell, I think Quentin Tarantino or somebody used green blood just to get away from that. But no, gore wise, this is cool. The fighting works. Even the I don't know if they use squibs or what they use, like whenever Jeremy Renner was sniping people off. But even the gunshots looked really effective. I thought those worked good as well. But yeah, gore effects wise, I loved it. I thought it was spot on. Of course, I'm always for more gore. If I had my way, the whole thing would be, it would look like Evil Dead 2 with it, piled up in the floor. But not everybody can film that. So I'm all good with it.
Yeah, liquid's just coming out of everywhere for the sake of coming out of everything. That's what Evil Dead.
Oh yeah, 100%. Let's just like it. The perfect amount of blood is Sam Raimi level. That's how you know you're doing it right.
That's fair.
So, yeah.
All right, Frank. What do you think? What do you think about these effects?
I'm a big fan of simplicity, especially when it comes to horror stuff. And there's two shots in particular that point out how the simplicity of the makeup makes this movie, the effects so good. Right here,
yes.
You've watched a million horror movies. You've seen blood and spit and ass from almost any angle. Jeremy,
Oh,
you have
I've
practical experience with this with your own hands. There's no real prosthetics, I would imagine, in this, except for maybe this shot probably got some contacts in. But this is just like tussle his hair up a little bit, maybe some like dentures to make his teeth look a little sharper.
It looks like the cheeks have been done up a little bit to make it look more emaciated.
And then just smear some blood on his mouth and make it look like he just finished eating a human being. And it's so simple for what this movie needs to be that they didn't, they didn't try to overdo it, because like so many movies like this, there's scars and tears and they have to make it look really, thematic and cinematic. But sometimes when you're dealing with something like this, it's just as simple as the little things. And Jeremy, with your experiences in the cave and all that, I know there's got to be one or two places in there where you're like, let's not overdo it, let's let the blood do the speaking, or let's let the eyes do, let's let the eyes be be the effect, and a couple little things to complement it to scare people. Because like even this shot, which is one of my favorite shots of the whole movie,
Great
I mean, a little bit of a bruise, a little bit of a thing on her lip, and then that eye. That's it, and that's scary. It's like she's infected, even though she's asymptomatic or immune or whatever. That's scary because you know that the reintroduction of this terrible virus into humanity again is right there staring at you, and you can see it very clearly in that eye. And I love the simplicity of some of the stuff. Yes, some of it is way more over the top. The gunshots, people jumping onto somebody. The scene where wifey gets what's coming to her at the end of the day, getting her throat. That all made sense for the moment, for the scene. But for the most part, I mean, there were so many little touches that enhance the fear of the moment. I mean, even something as simple as this one bloody teardrop. In the context of the scene, it's so engrossing without having to go the whole nine and have prosthetic whatever and limbs getting torn off and going the whole Texas Chainsaw route where somebody driving a chainsaw down the middle of somebody's torso, which is good and all. It's fun to watch, but it's such simplicity in a movie like this. It goes a long way. So I really thought the effects were perfect for this movie. I think the way they handled them, not minimalist, but there were scenes where they were toned down, scenes where they were toned up. They made those adjustments for what the scene needed to tell the story, which I thought was fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. It's a combination of things like that, and then also the act that you put behind it that sell the effect. Like, I forget, like for a long time, where was that picture of the dad? This one. Like you were saying, for a long time, I mean, that's what I did. You mess up the hair, you dirty your face up a little bit, slap some blood on there. And I mean, really, I swung around chainsaws for a number of years and it worked. Just covered in blood. I look like a fucking psychopath. And I'm really aggressive and I'm just, relentless. And it sells the effect. When I started getting into doing the devil, and getting eye contact, and I'm like, it's such a weirdly simple thing that because it's jarring. You're not used to seeing like something like this where dude's got these almost completely red eyes, or like in my case, I get like the little demon eyes where my eyes are almost whited out completely, and I'm just staring at you, and I forget I have them on. Like I'm looking at somebody just messing with them, and I'm in their face like this, and I forget that I'm like, oh, I've got white like contacts in. I look like I'm possessed, and it freaks people out. It doesn't take a lot, and also I'm in the dark, so you have to make it work. Sometimes I don't put the red on because I'm bathed in red light. Does it really matter? I don't know. And even some of the bigger stuff. Where's that? There's like a picture of some flames. I don't know. Well, there goes the mom. I thought that was Jeremy Renner, but never mind. Never mind. Rest in peace to both of them, I guess. A shitty way to die. I mean, for that, and also for Jeremy Renner trying to help them escape out of the city and getting torched by those soldiers. But
I'm actually kind of mad at myself for not getting a picture of Jeremy Renner getting torn up.
I was trying to look in the background where you guys were going on, but I couldn't. I got one.
I love how they use the rear window of that car as a framing device. It's almost like a television screen. As you're watching him like shove the car and then he just gets lit up. Like I love the way that they framed that whole shot. It looked really good too. I dig that.
I can get the shot. didn't get it for some reason. Because I use this website called FanCaps when whenever it's available, whenever the movie is available on the site. And I stumbled across it on there, and I did not think to get that particular shot. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'll try to find it real quick.
I know. While you look, I mean, I got a good question, and I'm going to leave because I don't want Tex to steal mine. I will say, does anyone have like a favorite kill? Because I have to say, this shit right here was so over the fucking top.
Fixing stuff. Using a helicopter as a weed eater, yeah, that wins. Yeah, no, that wins. Yeah,
that's as our boy Tallahassee would say, that is zombie kill of the week, maybe even of the month. Because
that zombie kill of the month, yeah, at minimum. Like you're,
dude flew a helicopter into a whole horde of zombies. I'm like, okay, you don't top that. That was pretty goddamn cool.
Good. I like that.
Speaking of effects. I kind of forgot it was this dude. I've seen him in a couple things. He was in the second and third Matrix movies. He was the operator for the ship for Morpheus. And
no shit, I didn't recognize it.
I didn't either for a second. I was like, wait a minute, that's the dude. I'm pretty sure that's the dude from the Matrix. And he was also in that really weird modernized version of Romeo and Juliet. He was Mercutio. So
yeah.
Take that for what
I'll take your word on that one.
Ridiculous.
That one, I didn't. I wasn't in line for that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I had to do it in 3 out of the 4 years of high school. I did English class. We did.
Now I've seen Troma's version of Romeo and Juliet, but that's a whole nother kind of movie.
There's a lot of versions of that. No, we would watch like the old version of the movie, and then watch like there was a remake, modern remake of all fucking 3 that we did, which was Hamlet, Macbeth, and Romeo and Juliet. They're interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, he was also in Lost.
He
was in. He played one of the bad guys in one of the seasons of Sons of Anarchy. I forget which one.
Oh, he's been around then. Shit, more stuff than I even know.
Did he play Pope? Is that the guy that he played? I forget. I'm gonna have to.
I don't know that.
I haven't seen Sons of Anarchy since the last episode.
He was Damon Pope.
Okay.
He was Damon Pope in season 5. He was the main antagonist of that season.
Oh look, Frank found it. Oh, there goes Jeremy Renner.
That's the best
almost
one.
Before disaster.
That's the best one because I remember watching it last night. There was a scene where the fire starts to engulf him as he's still got that look in the. I mean,
you can see it right over his shoulder there. It's like it's coming.
Winter Soldier over here.
Unfortunately, I mean, I think what FanCaps does is they probably run the movie through a program where every like second it takes a still, and so because it has it from the opening credits, even the end credits, it'll have like stills of the credits. I think that's what they do. If you don't catch it at just the right time, you're not gonna get the money shot. So that's as close as I can come. But I mean, you get the hint. You get the hint.
That still works. Oh yeah, he definitely.
Either way, it still works.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I guess we've kind of touched on it a little bit, but the next thing would then be, what should we expect from the third film? Now that we're, well, first of all, I was like, I think 28 months, but I mean, what do I know? I don't write films, but 28 years. You know what? I'm like, if you don't set yourself up for making like quote a prequel and do 28 months, I mean, I might be a little upset at you, but whatever. Hell, you could do 28 decades. We were making fun of this thing. Like, you know, what about 28 centuries later? I don't fucking know. You could do 28 days later in space. Why not?
Apparently, because this new one's 28 years later. Apparently, because they're doing at least 2. They want to do a trilogy. And they're going to stick with the 28 years. Then it's going to have subtitles after, from what I've seen. So. That, I mean, maybe that's a working change. Who knows? I don't know. But that's what I've seen on that.
All right. Well, Frank, what do you think? What do you think about if we're going to get in this third film now, having seen these 2?
Well, obviously we're going to see that, you know, like I said, the experiment's got out of the lab. It's obviously not on the UK anymore. It's mainly in Europe, and it will probably spread farther than that. It's not so much about what happens with this movie with me. I mean, we know what we're going to get. We're going to get, you know, rage virus. We're going to get a lot of, you know, scary people. They're trying to eat other people and tear them apart. That's fine.
Sure.
My question is like, you know, Tech said, do they want to make a trilogy after this? Because I'm going to say something that Tex is going to wildly disagree with. I really feel like horror movies need to limit themselves to trilogies. Because it
depends.
It's because, like, think about it. It's like first two Friday the 13th, really good. First two Nightmare on Elm Street's really good. I know a lot of people didn't like the second. I've always thought the second was just as good.
I don't know. Jason picked up as he went.
The problem is once you get past a certain point,
Freddy, though,
it's really hard to keep the movie fresh. And I've had people, and I've said it to people, and they're like, "Oh, what about the MCU? The MCU and the DC universe, they have individual characters they can make movies about, and then do like the combined stuff. So you can still have stories that are for Iron Man only, and the stories that are for Batman only, and tell specific stories before you come together for the things. You can make them all different films, which is what Marvel did for the first three phases. All the individual films were their own film. Captain Marvel, the first one, was like a 90s buddy cop action film. You know, Captain America, the first one anyway, was like a period piece war film. They made them individually unique and then brought them together for that stuff. The problem with the horror films is you don't really have that. So you have to, it's really, really hard to keep a franchise fresh. That's one of the reasons why you're seeing, like with Halloween, they end up retconning everything. So when they came out with the Halloween in 2016 or whatever, they completely wiped out everything that happened from Halloween 2 forward. And we're just like, this Halloween movie is going to essentially be Halloween 2. Then we're going to have Halloween Kills, and we're going to have Halloween Ends, and that's going to be the end of it, which I thought was smart.
3 Halloween 2s.
And but it's like, are we going to eventually get to 28 years later X? Where they're in space, and
that's 28 centuries later.
Are we gonna have a crossover with something else because we got to try to find a way to keep this relevant? I mean, it's gonna be 28 weeks later. X Fast and the Furious. I don't. What are you gonna
do? You have to outrun. We get Dom in his Dodge Charger, and he has to outrun a pack of Rage Monster.
I will volunteer myself to be infected if I get to kill Dom's character.
I will go see that movie 3 times if you make that. Where he's screaming, "It's all about family," and he's got like a flamethrower on the front of the Charger, killing the infected. You make that movie, please. Like that would be fun.
Look, if they want to make 2 more movies after this one and then 2 more, that's okay if you're keeping it fresh. But there's got to be an ending. Either they find some way to solve this rage virus thing, or everybody dies. I don't care. Just give me one of those 2 endings. Give me an ending.
I like everybody.
I'm okay with what I think would be a really crazy ending to this whole thing if they finally get to that last of this trilogy, whatever they're doing, and it's just like 1 or 2 uninfected human beings left against the last 20 or 30 infected, and that's all of humanity that's left. And they get to the point where they're like, we can't kill them all one at a time. We can't do whatever. We're just going to draw them all into a trap. We're going to kill all of ourselves. And then all of humanity is just gone. And then the earth, just nature takes over the earth again. That would be a better ending than, once again, we're sitting in some building somewhere hiding from infected. And that's where the movie ends. It's like, come on, dude. This is one of the things that killed Walking Dead for me. It's like, as time went on, it was less and less about infected and more about the soap opera. And I'm like, I want more. I want the Walking Dead stuff, the character stuff, the soap opera, personal relationships are fine, but I want the proper mix of all this. I mean, we've talked about this with Last of Us, how there does seem to be this little imbalance between the character dramatic stuff and the actiony stuff. And while it's worked pretty well, writing and acting and everything like that, I still do want to see a proper ending. And I either want to see them, figure out this rage virus, how to stop it, or I just want to see all infected and uninfected just die in one shot in some really huge explosion. Somebody finds a nuclear weapon, they draw all the infected in there, press the button, and then badoom, and there we go. And then everybody's dead, and Mother Nature can have the Earth back, and we'll see what happens in a few million years. So that's kind of where I hope it goes. We're going to see some good stuff. I'm interested to see what kind of actors they have in this movie. I don't know. I haven't even really looked at the cast.
Aaron Taylor Johnson is the lead.
Yeah, they got.
That's kind of cool.
I knew there were some big names in it.
And
Jodie Comer, Aaron Taylor Johnson. Yeah, so they've got some acting.
Big names.
The premise is 28 years after the rage virus. Survivors have found a way to exist amidst the infected. So does that mean they're coexisting now? One group lives in a small island connected to the mainland by a single heavily defended causeway. When a father and a son leave the island on a mission into the dark heart of the mainland, they discover the secrets, wonders, and horrors of the outside world. What secrets and wonders are there? We all know. We've seen the first two movies. We know what's out there. It's a bunch of infected people trying to rip you apart. So secrets? I don't know. Well, I'll have to see the movie to try to figure out what they're talking about. But I mean, like I said, I want to see them have a concise ending. One of the things I really, really liked about, I'll go Halloween again. Halloween Ends is that there was an ending. It wasn't you can not like it. I understand you don't like it.
I think X almost just threw up in his mouth.
That was the one thing I very much wanted to see was an ending. And if you want to reboot the series to start over again with
trauma,
or with some other final girl, that's fine. But I wanted to see this story come to a clean end. I want a clean cut that was going to heal just right for me as a viewer, for somebody who's liked these movies, well, most of them, over the course of the last 40-some years. It's like that's what I wanted, was a good, clean ending. And I got that for the most part. And that's what I kind of want out of this, because it's been fun to watch the rage virus. It's not just, zombies walking around like, eat brains and shit like that. Mm-hmm. It's been fun to watch this different kind of infected whatever. So don't give me a shitty ending to where you're just leaving me in this world where there are some infected, there are some not infected, and they're just trying to avoid, one of them is trying to avoid the other. That's not a clean ending to me. Give me a clean ending and I'll be happy.
Yeah. Well, look at that. We got Dr. Nick, the garbage man. Apparently the second Thor sucked monkey balls.
It did.
Just like Casey.
There you go.
I'm not going to.
The third one.
I'm not going to repeat what he said first. But,
Thor the Dark World was.
Dark World and fucking Love and Thunder was just.
Love and Thunder was awful.
It was not good.
Yeah.
Like there's not a whole lot of movies that I would unmake if you gave me the gauntlet and let me snap my fingers.
Thank you, Taika Waititi.
Yeah,
his nonsense.
I would unmake that movie so
damn
fast.
One thing I was going to say about the future of this franchise.
I think you're next, guys. What do you think? What do you think?
From I've kind of studied the trailer. Now the theory, they heavily talk about the son. This is his first time going out. Oh, he's too young. No, he's fine. He can handle it. Whatever.
Right.
He's going to be the key to this. I think the son he's either going to be the one that he's actually the cure, or he stops it somehow. I can almost guarantee you, if these new 28 whatever films go 3 movies, I could see them keeping Aaron Taylor Johnson around to make the Rick-like sacrifice for his boy, not Carl, whatever the son's name is, and playing up that angle. So, I mean, unfortunately for Frank, most zombie projects you don't get a clean why, how, or ending, because that's not how zombie apocalypse stuff works for the most part.
Right.
But hey, I'm always up. Hey, I think the perfect ending is somehow they find their way into a military base and they press that shiny red button that lights up the nuclear bombs and everybody dies.
But that's what I'm saying. That'd be a good ending.
That'd be great. That would be a great ending. But what are movies about? It's a movie business. So we always need sequels, baby. So I don't figure you're probably going to get that. Much like with the end of 28 Weeks Later. You get this shot of, we're in Paris now, and another movie ever gets made, and we're left on that cliffhanger. Which, by the way, why didn't they wait for 2030 to make this movie and actually make it 28 years later? That seems like a mistake.
We'll have at this point.
Just saying, it's only like 5 more years. It's not going to.
We're damn near getting up on 28 years later.
Right. Well, think of the commercials. 28 years ago, it happened. Da, da, da. And it could actually be 28 years. Hell, Halloween did that with Halloween 2018 with the whole 40 years and everything else. So I'm surprised they didn't do that.
Yeah, but
that's what I'm saying.
You've already given yourself the out by saying you've got somebody who's infected but asymptomatic. So you've already given yourself the exit door. First with the mom and now with the kid. So you've already given yourself the exit door. The question is how many steps is it going to take to get there? You want to do 2 more movies. You want to make these movies a trilogy, 28 years later, and then however you're going to go on from there. Next is going to be, what is it, Bone Pyramid or something like that?
Something like that.
They've already got the sequel plan called Bone Pyramid or something like that.
Yeah, that's the
Bone
second
Temple.
part of the name. Bone Temple.
The Bone Temple. And
Bone Temple.
It's not. I don't know if there's no real information about what it's going to look like yet. But
I don't think they've started working on it yet, like shooting wise.
Probably not.
Well, they already said Aaron Taylor Johnson, Cillian Murphy, and Jack O'Connell are going to be in this. So apparently
Cillian Murphy's supposed to have a bigger role in the sequel to the new one coming up, from what I have.
And that's solid, because that takes it full circle back to the beginning, 28 days later. But so yeah, you've already given yourself
this one's completely disconnected.
Yeah, you've already given yourself the exit. You've already given yourself a way out of this. You've got the asymptomatic person. So here we are, kind of back in that Last of Us thing, where you've got a potential for the cure. What are you going to do with it? And it's like, are you just going to hang out in Jackson, Wyoming, and just chill until everybody's gone, or are you actually
going to go to the pub and have a nice pint and wait for the whole thing to blow over?
Damn right.
They need to join up with AMC, and the last shot of 28 years later it's just somehow Rick Grimes appears. He's just standing there in the shadow. Holy crap! How did this happen? That would be hilarious. People's minds would blow if he just puts that hat up and you see Rick Grimes. Hey, he's already British, so he can just film it over there.
You realize he's British, right?
Yeah.
So is Maggie.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Somehow Rick Grimes is here and he's British now. We don't know what happened, but he's here.
There's more Brits in Walking Dead in the American South than there are actual Americans.
Right.
Weird to me, but
well, British actors are more disciplined.
Isn't Norman Reedus' character in Britain now or in Europe now? I haven't watched even the second.
The first season of his show was in. No, the first season of his show was in Paris. Then he comes home for the second season, which I haven't seen the second season yet. I've seen Dead City with Negan and Maggie, but I didn't really like the Daryl show as much.
I haven't got around to seeing it, so I don't know.
Dead City's pretty good. I actually enjoy it. Yeah, I like it.
I think after seeing this, what I think about 28 years is, again, I'm still sticking with that tagline that they keep saying it's evolved. And I'm like, well, yes, clearly, because we're still this far in.
Well, it's a zombie then.
Yeah. So, but and like Frank was saying, I think that was my thought, was that now we have the mom who's an asymptomatic carrier, and all hope for that went out the damn door when she got barbecued by the military. Right. But you have the kids, and now, to be fair, if we follow the rules that, again, from Walking Dead, I'm like, I didn't see a body. You see a crash helicopter, the headset sitting in the thing, you see blood, then you just see zombies in Paris. I'm like, okay, but I didn't see them die. So if you're left to assume they made it across the English Channel there to France, which is right there, right from the tip of Britain, right across the channel is France. I'm like, okay, sure, but did they die? Now we're into this, but now, to be fair, the original rage-infected virus has died out. Now we have an asymptomatic version of this that spread. Now, like I said, I'm not going to be able to tell you how to science-y, genetics, yada, yada bullshit explain it, but I'm like, this came from a person who was asymptomatic, who didn't have the symptoms of the virus, but she had it. So she has a slightly different variant of this thing that is now what spread. So maybe that has now somehow evolved into something else. Like Frank said, that's the out, that you have a slightly different version of this infected, this virus out here. Now, what it's going to be, I don't know. Like I said, the trailers have been selling me. I'm excited. I don't know.
Maybe these are more zombie-like traditional than the original place, is what you're saying.
I don't know.
I mean, it's possible.
It's something else. So I'm wondering what they're going to explain it as,
Well, they keep showing that preacher with the church, and obviously like that statue of all the human skulls and everything.
I want to know what that is, because that's metal as hell.
That's obviously some kind of tribute to. I mean, they could be completely disconnected. Because they show the preacher, they show the bald guy. I think he's shirtless, and then they show that skull's monolith that's built up. Are they going to go like kind of like the Whisperers in Walking Dead, or is this a cult that thrives, that has joined with it? Are they going to go for more of a? I mean, I don't know. There's a bunch of different ways they can do it. for a cult of angle. And Frank, what did you say the title or of the second one is? Bone something?
Bone Temple?
Bone Temple.
Bone Temple. For the second film to be titled Bone Temple and every bit of advertising to literally have a bone statue.
That bone, yeah.
That's obviously something to do with it. So if I had to guess, I'd say this new one probably ends on a big major cliffhanger like we saw with this one. Oh, you're in Paris now. And that leads to the second one. Now, do I think we'll get 328 films? No. I think they'll do 2 and then you might get a third on streaming or something. But hey, this could be like Halloween 2018. That thing made like $250 million and Blumhouse rushed out 2 more films. So if this film does gangbusters, that they may pump out 3, but I would guess probably 2 if I had to guess.
I don't know if this image is from the next movie that comes out in a couple of days or from. What did I just do with it, David? I thought I saved it, but I guess I didn't. Give me a second. I was looking at some stuff about the Bone Temple because I had seen the poster and I was trying to find that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that one picture I saw was right. Okay, so let me go to this real quick.
I was just saying,
which, by the way,
they need to do something like I Am Legend, where like in the book where it's like, yeah, you have these infected, and like I said, humans are notoriously fucking annoying about and persistent about living because we've lived through some shit. So I'm just saying that seems to be the fight, the survival of like to keep humanity going, and it's like that's all well and great, but at the end of that book, Robert Neville realizes, like to these infected, I'm the one who's like out of place, and he realizes like this is the new world now, and he ends up just letting them be, and it's like that's like Frank said, like you always say, Mother Nature takes it back, she takes everything back, and we're just hit the reset button.
Life finds a way. Pull some Jurassic Park.
Yeah, like it just doesn't involve human beings. So
this is an image that is from the
that's what I'm talking about.
That's
which, by the way, I hope they make some kind of collectible of that skull statue because I will buy one and put it on my shelf. That looks amazing.
Like I said,
that's actually Comer walking in down that path towards the
I think
center.
it's Rough Files right there, right?
Yeah, I don't know who else is in that, but
bald guy. I don't know. I mean,
it looks great either way.
I say the way the trailer
has
been shown. I'm here for it.
I don't know if they're doing popcorn buckets or themed cups, but could you imagine a cup for this movie shaped like out of all that skull monolith? That would be like the best movie merch of the year. I would buy that. So cool.
I do love the poster for this movie where it's got the biohazard sign and it's got the skulls and the
three skulls that are locked. Yeah. This movie.
It's just
that's one thing.
And just the 28 years. I love it.
If y'all go see this at an AMC, they are handing out 28 years later posters. I did see that on X, so I'm hoping to get one of those as well when I go see it this weekend. But who knows if they'll happen or not.
Oh, excuse me. There's gonna be some cool stuff with this. There's the notes. Hello. All right. I think I kind of said what I said about the film. I think it's whatever this virus has now got some evolved form, like Pokemon or some shit. Now it's in its like shiny gen or something. It's doing some weird shit. Pretty much. You just torch the whole fucking place. I think it's kind of cool. I like that we have these like primitive people that obviously resort to some pretty insane shit. But I don't know if it's a flashback or if it is still because I'm a nerd like that. I'm like, there was like fully kitted soldiers with like guns in like one of the scenes. I'm like, I don't know if you still have that 28 years later, but I mean, sure. That's always the joke that Fallout takes place like in the future, but Skyrim takes place in the really, really far future. Because I'm like, right, you regress back to doing bows and arrows instead of firing nuclear weapons from your shoulder. You know what I mean?
Well, hell yeah.
So, like,
I mean,
you kind of have to go back a little bit.
Hell, even in Walking Dead, as they were rebuilding, they basically ended up
using horses and
like the Old West era. I mean, it was basically where they were. So,
pretty much
kind of how it operated.
All right, and now we have some trivia to get through. Let me get that out of here. I can't. Get off my screen. Okay. So, where was that picture? I don't think we have it, but we can use this because it works. So, the boy who arrives at the cottage in the beginning of the film claims to be from Sanford. And I already see where it's going. I caught the same thing.
I knew you'd like this one.
as soon as he said Sanford, I'm like, motherfucker. Sanford is, in fact, the name of a fake village used by the British police to train recruits and practice emergency preparedness drills, the street plan of which is based on that of Dundee, Scotland. Sanford is also the fictitious locale for the action comedy Hot Fuzz from 2007. Amazing movie. This may be an in-joke to the fact that the team behind Hot Fuzz had previously made Shaun of the Dead from 2004, a zombie comedy that poked fun at 28 Days Later by dismissing rage-infected monkeys as the source of its own zombie plague. By mentioning Sanford, the makers of 28 Days / Weeks Later now seem to be returning the favor. As soon as that little fucker said Sanford, I'm like,
I read that and I was like, I know it's kind of long. And I try to avoid the long ones, but Jeremy's gonna get.
No, it's no one ever dies. It's just a lot of accidents.
Now,
A lot of traffic collisions.
did Frank sneak in how many people died in this movie? Did he
I
get one of
don't
those
know.
into the trivia?
I will just refer you back to Dead Meat James. I don't think he did.
I
I could have just, you know what? I'm in control and I'll just ignore it. I need something to
There you
like,
go.
okay, I have a veto. Boom.
Jeremy's the captain now. Look at me.
Jeremy's got the veto button on this one.
I do. Kind of. I mean, Frank can still do stuff. Let's see. What is this? That'll work. Yeah, Sanford's not so safe. The farm that Don and Alice hide out in the start of the film is the same farm that appears in the movie Children of Men from 2006.
Good movie.
So was that year before?
Never saw it.
It's not bad. It's not horror by any means. It's much more drama stuff. But I actually went over on the American Werewolf New Jersey's channel to review this movie quite some time ago. You guys can check his channel out.
Oh, cool.
It's a really good. It's post-apocalyptic, but it's more about what people are willing to do to repopulate the human species rather than basically what happens is something happens, nobody can really breed anymore, and it's crazy. Like the youngest person in the movie, it makes international news that the youngest living person is killed by a mugger or something like that, and he was 25 or something, but he was the youngest person in the world, 25. So and because people aren't breeding anymore, and then of course they find this one girl who's pregnant, so it becomes a big deal. And not unlike Last of Us, he's got to take her to some people that will hopefully fix the whole people not breeding thing. It's a really good movie. It's much more of a dramatic piece than anything else, but it's got some action elements to it as well. It's a good movie, very good movie.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm more of a Hell Comes to Frogtown starring Roddy Piper kind of guy where he has to go around and literally impregnate every female on the planet, like and fight these monsters. Hell of a movie. If you haven't seen Hell Comes to Frogtown, check it out. It's pretty good. So.
I don't know why when you said that I thought not Tex Frank. When you said that, I thought of a really bleak intro to an old video game that I used to play that I feel like would make a really interesting movie, where it just opens up with a plague killed 99.99% of all women on the planet. That's its opening line. And I'm like, Jesus. I mean, 0.01% is still, I mean, it's not like it's one woman left in the world. Like, there are
Earth
some.
become
But
a
I'm like,
sausage fest in about 2 seconds.
and I was like, son of a bitch. And then like nukes are used. It's in a nuclear apocalypse, and it's an interesting video game from the late 90s. Yeah, of course,
Never
like another
heard
one
of it.
you see, it's called Battle Tanks. It's kind of cool. There's like your wife with the main character, and then of course the bad guy is actually a bad woman. Of course, I'm like, yeah, of course she is. And there's like another gang that live out in the fucking desert. They have like these really fast tanks. There's like one woman to them. It's some Mad Max type shit. I don't know. It's in a distant future year of 2006. When the world went to shit. Apparently, people in 1997 didn't think highly of the world.
Still waiting on my jetpack, damn it. I was promised that some time ago.
Where's my electric car, Bruce?
Hey,
I
I saw the Jetsons as a boy, and none of that stuff is here. I feel lied to.
We were lied to. All right. Robert Carlyle, who played the dad, had turned down the role of Major Henry West, played by Christopher Eccleston, in 28 Days Later. That would have been kind of interesting. I feel like he could have still done that character. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't see him as a military commander. I see him as the sniveling little runt that he is in this. Like, to me, I don't think.
I mean, maybe he could have been. Like, he's not really the leader here, is he? He's the one who was left.
Well, I mean,
but
if it would have worked out that way, I'm sure he would have done fine. But Christopher Eccleston he's got a little bit of a look and demeanor about him that fits the military role a little bit better than this guy does. I believe him in that role as much as I believe in the guy playing the dad in this movie. I believe him to be the dad of these kids. He fits the role very well. Just kind of on spec, he passes the eye test, despite the fact he left.
Oh yeah,
whatever. But and he has apparently
You mean this eye test right here?
Yeah.
But dry eyes, clear eyes.
It actually worked out really well that he played this role instead of the other one, because Christopher Eccleston he carries himself like a major major or a general in the military, whereas this guy looks like a dad.
Well, especially whenever West is, when they're finally at the dinner scene and he's sitting there, it's not just the look that he has, but the presence that he carries. Like, I mean, he was the last one left or whatever, but you believe he's a General Washington type or somebody that he's a military man. I just did. He ain't pulling it off.
I know, that's acting range. We'll never know.
Acting.
There's a good one of Jeremy Renner.
Good action shot.
The character of Doyle is a reference to the director of 28 Days Later, Danny Boyle. The name Doyle consisting of the D from Danny and oil from Boyle, making Doyle. I think Frank just really wanted me to say that without fucking it up.
Oil from Doyle making Boyle.
It was a way of paying homage to Boyle. So
I guess.
Yeah. It's the
you're lucky I don't have an accent. You're gonna make me try to say like, oh look, it's a bottle of water.
it's the little things that filmmakers do to pay homage to other filmmakers, especially when you're doing a sequel to a franchise that did very well, like the first movie. So it's one of those fun things. Because while he wasn't a director of this film, he actually Danny Boyle did have a lot of input from what I read on the story. So while he didn't direct it, produce or anything like that, he did have input in the elements of the story that made it fit very well with the first film. So.
Well, but for him to have an impact on this,
a couple of scenes in this movie too, as I recall.
The story, like the only elements of the first film that have anything to do with this is the overall plot line of rage virus. Other than that, you get nothing from the first film. That, I think, jarred a lot of people because, I mean, technically, would y'all consider this an anthology film within the 28 years world? World.
Yeah,
because they were left out in like a house out in the country somewhere. Like,
right, that's what I'm saying. Like, once we get to the end and we see help, written in dresses and sheets, we don't see Cillian Murphy until trailers for 28 years later. So, I mean, it's one thing to bring back a final girl to face her slasher. That's a trope, but they're using that trope in a weird way, which is. I'm kind of concerned about it. Are they going to do like kind of how they did like Luke Skywalker in the Disney Star Wars sequels? Is that what Cillian Murphy's role is going to be? I mean, how are they going to do that? But
we'll find out.
I don't know.
I do like the idea that he's coming back and we're going to bring this whole thing full circle. So we'll see.
But that's what I'm saying. I consider this an anthology just for the fact of. We're telling multiple stories within the same world, and I mean, it's not.
Well, by definition, it is an anthology film. It takes place in the same universe, but totally different characters, totally different situations. All they share is the same world. Kind of like the American Horror Story is an anthology series. Every season is a story, different cast.
Every Kevin Smith movie is an anthology movie. I mean, shit.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, it is definitely an anthology by definition. I just hope that it will I hope that it will.
I just hope
it
it's
works
good.
circle and
We're getting called out. Dr. Nick wants to know what happened to your background, Frank. Where's all your cool stuff?
my cool stuff is still in boxes.
Frank's in his own apocalypse over here.
Pop figures are in a box
From his
actually right out
bunker.
there in the dining room. So yeah, I have to order shelves that will fit the pop figures. There's going to be more posters that are going up. I have a couple up here that aren't on camera. My Taps poster, one of my favorite movies. I actually just watched it on YouTube the other day. Great movie. George C. Scott. You should watch it again. Some of my special passes for special screenings of movies are stuffed in there with the poster for the Planet of the Apes movie. Yeah, there's going to be more stuff up there. I just got to figure out how I'm going to arrange it all. Back there's the there's the lamp.
The Boondock Saints lamp. Yeah.
Boondock Saints lamp.
Frank loves lamp after all.
I still have a lot of arranging to do to make this place look presentable, but I wanted to at least get something up so there would walls.
You're at least here though, so I mean, that's something,
We'll eventually get Frank not looking like he's in a fucking hostage video. So
yeah.
Fucking anywho, I'll go to this picture. The iconic last shot of the film was a last-minute addition to the movie. The shooting script ends with the shot of the parked helicopter, and it was supposed to be how the film had ended. However, 2 days before the locked-off edit was supposed to be handed into Fox Searchlight for distribution, writer and director Juan Carlos Fresnadillo, writer-producer Enrique Lopez Levine, and co-producer Bernard Bellew flew to Paris to shoot the scene with which the film now ends. This scene was conceived by the very last minute by Fresnadillo and Lopez Levine and was shot completely guerrilla style, which I love and I appreciate. With only 3 crewmen, 12 local actors hired on the day of the shoot, and 1 DV camera. Sound on the scene was rapidly mixed back in London, and the shot was hastily added into the end of the film. I love that. Because holy crap. If that, like I said, I want this as like a poster, just somewhere.
That is a really cool shot.
I'm surprised that wasn't used as a DVD cover.
Bad movie, that would have been a really cool shot.
It says so much because you're like, it's just that gritty, like dawn, like the orange tone, them sprinting, and you see an iconic landmark, like, so you know where it's at, you know what's happening, and when you realize, oh shit, they're on a mainland now, it's about to be bad news bears. I'm telling you.
Yeah, that shot. Well, once again, I mean, we said it earlier, but my favorite thing about that shot is it's got the look and feel of the original film, and it's throwing you back into that world for just a second, and it's like, oh, I remember that. That was good. That's the guerrilla filmmaking of 28 days and 28 weeks is completely different. But yeah, I love that sepia filter chainsaw style of grindhouse filmmaking. I always appreciate that.
Yeah, I just wrote it down real quick on my little notepad that I keep here by the keyboard. I should do a video about endings that were kind of fly by the seat of their pants as they were filming the movie. We've all seen Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory with Gene Wilder. I don't know that you guys have ever seen Mel Stewart, one of the guys who was the creators of that movie. A similar kind of thing happened at the end of that movie. They didn't like the ending, and they had pretty much the producer, but most everybody had pretty much left Munich where they were filming it, and he was on vacation, and they called him and they said, "Hey, I just realized we don't have an ending for this movie." And he's like, "What do I do?" And he goes, "Well," and he was kind of like, I guess he was out like in the woods somewhere. They had to get him to some payphone that was tacked to a tree somewhere in the forest, and he was like, "Well, they lived happily ever after." He goes, "Really? That's the ending?" He goes, "Well, that's what I got right now." And that's how we ended up getting that. That's how we ended up getting that actually really awesome ending to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Right. They just kind of threw a scene together real quick where he says, "Don't forget what happened to the kid who got everything he ever wanted. He lived happily ever after," and that's where the movie ends. That was like a perfect ending for that film.
Sure.
So I've heard all kinds of stories about how some weird endings have come around to movies. That's probably a video to be done by people who have way more time to really go into production value. But there's some crazy stuff out there.
You weren't here when we did 28 Days, but I mean, I brought up how there was at least 2 different endings where Cillian Murphy's character gets dies from the gunshot. Mm-hmm. Then there was another one where he's strapped to the table looking at those TV screens like the monkey was in the beginning of the film. I believe there was a couple other endings, but I can't remember. But I mean, even within this own world, they had multiple endings to play with. They went for the more hopeful ending in one. This ending is kind of,
Bleak.
I don't want to say it. Yeah, I mean, bleak. It's like, I mean, I'd say questionable more than bleak, but it's what's going to happen, man. But I don't know.
I guess we'll find out this weekend.
Yeah.
What is
Hopefully.
shot? Cool shot of the stadium.
Yeah.
Danny Boyle directed some of the second unit filming, which also directed one first unit sequence, the scene in which the barn near the start of the film, where Sally, Amanda Walker, and Jeff, played by Garfield Morgan, are killed. I mean, yeah, you can kind of tell, like, you get some people together, film a scene, and there's your opening, and hey, we're gonna clean up London for about one day.
Well,
One whole day.
but here's the problem.
One day later,
and to kind of touch on what Frank was talking about earlier about how he wants to know how this started in a clean ending. That's never going to happen.
We know how it started. They made it pretty clear in the first movie.
right?
Well, for the most part, for the most part, you rarely find out how it started, and you almost never get a clean ending for the apocalypse because, like he said, oh well, either the whole world explodes or you find the cure. Either way. But the problem with finding a cure is that's kind of a lackluster ending. You have to have a big build up to do that. Like that's the biggest downfall of zombie media is how do you end the end of the world that's not a nuclear bomb explodes. That's kind of the end all be all of whatever. I mean,
I think they managed to make a good ending for the Resident Evil movies. It doesn't show the actual.
Are you talking the project, the ones with Alice, or which ones?
The ones with Mia Jovovich.
Yeah, that's the ones I'm talking about. Where she was a clone and everything.
They did manage to come up with the cure, even though it doesn't show you administering the cure. They do leave on the note that now we have the cure. Now we can start getting the world back together. Yeah, and then there's like visuals on like a computer of like infected going away, but it doesn't show you actually being cured. But whatever.
I love the Resident Evil movies, and I think I was like one of the 5 people that actually saw every one of them in theater, including the last one.
No,
I went to opening night. I went to opening night, and there was 3 of us in my screening. Nobody went to that movie. I love
all of it. I enjoyed the Resident Evil franchise. I'm not going to lie.
I really enjoyed it.
Was it high art? No, but it's awful fun.
I like the games better. I don't know. Sorry.
There's a reason why I put Resident Evil 2 Retribution in my top 10 zombie films. I love that movie. Is it Apocalypse? Was Apocalypse 2, whichever one 2 was, I put in my top 10 because we get Jill in it. We get, you get Nemesis. Oh, I love that movie so much. That was a really
get the Star Soldiers in there.
Yep.
All right. Let's use that one. The scene in which Don becomes the first infected person in the movie, killing his wife, and starts spreading the infection by attacking and ravaging the military officers. The score used for the scene was the same as Frank's death, played by Brendan Gleeson in 28 Days Later, which is Requiem in D minor. I'm
Requiem
a
in D minor.
Not Requiem for a Dream, not to be confused with that. Now, to be fair, another Cillian Murphy movie that has a good fucking soundtrack and it was also used in Walking Dead was the theme to Sunshine. Holy crap. And I did add In a Heartbeat, In the House, In a Heartbeat to my cave playlist because that iconic that theme from the first movie, which is I think in the second one somewhere. It just slaps.
I don't have any of the music from this franchise on my horror playlist. I've got like 1,000 songs on there, but I don't have any from the 28 Days franchise.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? This one needs some appreciation. I need to put some of that in there.
I'm gonna have to look into that. There's some good ones. I don't know which ones I would really just have to have. But both film scores are really good in this movie. I appreciate the sound.
Hell yeah! Oof, good lord! All right, let's end it with Jeremy Renner here. During the containment breach, during the containment breach, when the snipers are trying to kill the infected, one of them mentions Fubar over the radio. I bet you I know what it stands for. I bet you're about to tell me. Yeah. The acronym itself stands for Fucked Up Beyond All Recognition. Shout out to saving. Oh, I ruined the joke. Sorry. It was coined by the U.S. military in World War II. It appeared first appeared in 1944, but was highly popularized by the civilian lexicon when it was famously used in the movie Saving Private Ryan. Sorry, I totally ruined the joke, but yeah.
Fubar, man.
I actually remember.
That's one of those things.
It's German, I think, right? It's German?
Yeah, it's German,
the dictionary.
right? I've been looking at the German dictionary. I can't find Fubar. I actually remember it from Tango and Cash from like back in like what 1990.
Okay.
I can't think of a movie before.
I've just heard it before. I don't.
I'm pretty sure it probably was. I just not.
I knew what it meant.
I never. Well, the first time I heard Fubar was from. It wasn't a movie. It was like just somebody that I knew that, like I was in the military or whatever, just said it. So I mean, I heard it from outside of film. I don't know.
Yeah, I just heard it. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, holy crap! Look at that. Look who decided to join us.
Cora's here.
We got Cora back.
Well, it's only fitting that we're doing a not zombie movie and two of our, other harsh truthers, reappear, Frank and Cora. So, it works out. That's cool.
Yeah, true. All right. That's all the trivia. So, if we want to wrap this up, give our final thoughts. Frank, I'll start with you. What's your final thoughts on this movie? Would you recommend it?
No, I definitely recommend it. I think it's a solid movie. It is good as an anthology film. It's a solid sequel. Not quite as good as the first. I don't think the writing was quite there. The acting certainly was very good. It's a solid sequel, and it's got me excited watching the 28 days later and 28 weeks later. It's got me excited and ready to go for 28 years later. I'm interested to see what they're going to do. There's all kinds of opportunity left in this franchise. There's some cool places this thing could go, and I'm eager to see where it's going to go. This movie in and of itself is really good. I mean, it's less actiony, more character driven. The actiony stuff is good. The effect stuff is good, with the exception of the one magic key card that apparently solves all the problems in the world. There's not really a whole lot of problems in the movie. Again, young Jeremy Renner before Hawkeye, he was still a badass and didn't miss any of his shots. Rose Byrne, who I think is gorgeous. I mean, she's obviously had a great career.
She was great.
It's a very well put together film. It's a very well put together sequel, because the problem with a lot of sequels in Hollywood is there's this law of diminishing returns. So it's like first movie good, second movie good, but not quite there, and then on and on down the line. That's what I was talking about horror movies. You get to like a 13th or 14th movie, and you're basically just like throwing shit against the wall and recording it and saying, "Here's our next movie," and that's whatever. But it's a solid movie. I'm eager to see what the third one's going to bring us. I would recommend it. I mean, it's on Tubi for free. Go ahead and go watch it. You'll find it on a bunch of streaming services, I'm sure. Probably in the $5 bin at Walmart. If you're still shopping at Walmart, go do that. It's worth having around.
All right, what about you, Tex? Give me your final thoughts on this movie, and would you recommend this one?
Yeah, I like this one. I mean, like I said, I prefer this one over 28 days, and I'm maybe in a minority, but I don't really care. This is the more Americanized version. It's the more actiony based. It's some of the horror elements aren't as good as the first one, but overall, I like the presentation of this one better than the first. And it's a great anthology entry to this world. How much of this gets carried over into 28 years, we'll find out this weekend. But it's a definite recommend. I don't know. I think this one left Tubi today. I'm not sure. You might check, but there's other ways to watch it, I'm sure. But either way, it's a solid film. Some good acting. Idris Elba. I can't get Jeremy's point out of my head now. They hired a British guy to play an American in a British setting. That for that alone is worth what. For that alone is worth what. But definitely must watch. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's a badass movie.
Yeah, I agree with all of the above statements. I like it in its that it's in the lexicon of this world. I don't think it's quite as good as one. I like like I said, that kind of gritty, just low budget feel of one that still managed to make a really cool movie out of it. Now, I don't mind a sequel being a little more polished, a little bigger, and yeah, give me some action. You got some cool fight scenes and stuff going, going on in London. But I'm not. It's not. I'm gonna say it's like a half step down. I mean, it's not like bad. I did enjoy this movie. I'm kind of sad that I maybe only watched it, I think maybe once, just to say I did. So I'm like, well, now I know the whole story of this franchise, which apparently this year of our Lord, they decided to sweep the leg and say, hey, guess what? Now we're making 28 years. And I'm like, all right, cool. Take my money. I don't care. I saw a trailer and I'm already like, I'm banging my fist on the table. Like,
later in there in space. It's going to be great.
Yeah, they pretty much already did that. So yeah, I'm excited to see 3 and see what we do with that. And yeah, of course, I recommend this movie. It's free on Tubi. It's free on Hulu right now with a subscription. God, I can't talk today. And Disney Plus, but it's a premium subscription. So everything else is a paywall. But yeah, I mean, shit. Like we always say, I think that should be a merch shirt. Like, buy physical media and just put a DVD on there. I don't know. It'd be funny. Like, always buy physical media. It's worth it.
Physical media is the best.
I will make that shirt, put it on the merch store.
once you own it, they can never edit it, take it away from you, deem it cancelable. Once it's in your hands, it's yours forever. So,
you know what you need? Put it in the Blockbuster font, because that'll make it funnier. Like, buy physical media and put a DVD case.
That'd be cool. And
I just made
like how Blockbuster used to have like little stickers that say action or horror. Put the Harsh Truth logo as a sticker on the case. That'd be kind of cool.
And they're like, please be kind, rewind, like on the bottom of it. Yeah,
right. There you go.
Because we never did that.
See, look, we're talent and the marketing department. Frank, you get it all with us, man. You get all that shit.
As another sequel that we got almost 40 years later. Merchandising. Put the movie's name on everything.
The Harsh Truth 2, The Search for More Money. There you
that's
go.
What I'm about to say. That's gonna be the name of the final movie. It's gonna be like 28 decades later, The Search for More Money.
Oh God.
28 weeks to flamethrow up.
The kids love this one.
28 weeks to man, it's gonna be ridiculous.
Hey, Corey, you know we're doing baseballs. We have to do it if this next one's coming out. So you better be here. I know you say you don't like the movie, but you gotta be here, damn it. You gotta be here.
All right. I'm gonna go counterclockwise. Tex, where do people find you on the internet as we wrap this up?
Well, unfortunately, have to do fatherly duties, and I won't be here Thursday to join y'all. I actually saw the Dragon movie. It was pretty good. I was going to talk about it, but real life, calls to me otherwise. But y'all make sure to tune in to Jeremy, and I think Gamer's going to be here. I don't know who's going to be here to talk about it, but they will be discussing How to Train Your Dragon. Actually, kind of a fun movie. I took the kids to it, so y'all go see that and go watch 28 Years this weekend. So go to AMC, get you a free poster. So.
All right, Frank, what have you got going on in your some semi-bare bunker over there? What you got going on?
Still plenty of unpacking. Still need to go get a washer and dryer. Still need to have some stuff done. Still need to work on the yard. I will not be here Thursday. I'll be helping Jeremy get the stream together. But it'll be him and probably Brooding Gamer and anybody else that they know that wants to join in. It will be here to go over all that. And then next Tuesday, I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna go see it this weekend. 28 years later, I'm excited to come back and to talk about that movie. But come back Thursday, hang out with Jeremy and Brooding Gamer, give him all your dinosaur questions as we begin to ramp up. We're about a month away now, Jay, from Jurassic whatever is coming in next. I don't even know. So
as we're talking about 14 movies that don't need to be in a franchise, Jurassic Park something.
If you think about it, think about it for a second. Let me look at this real quick.
Hey, I'm just going to watch Scarlett Johansson all sweaty in the jungle. That's what got my money.
That's fair.
Yeah. July is going to be off the hook for movies. So
fucking shine.
If you need a rest from us, right? Take it right now because
Jurassic World, Superman, Fantastic Four.
Because July alone, we're going to June. June 8th, July, we've got Jurassic World Rebirth. We've got
Superman.
We've got Let's see.
Fantastic Fantastic Four.
I know what you did
sorry,
last
I
summer.
misspoke.
I know what you did last summer. Well, we may end up doing that. Fantastic Four is coming out. Let's see. They must have moved something. And then August 1st is going to be The Naked Gun, which just dropped. What a fantastic trailer.
And
so yeah,
like what the fuck?
It's gonna be a busy July. So yeah, get ready because we've got a lot of blockbusters.
Well, and not just that. There's it's kind of an A24 type horror film starring Dave Franco and Alison Brie. It's kind of a Cronenberg kind of body horror film called Together. And that's in July as well. I have that written down. From Josh Stolberg, the guy that did the Saw film, Skill House. It's a Phantom Event movie. It's not being released, but I'm going to go see that as well. And then Toxic Avengers in August. You forgot about that one. So there's another. It's kind of an acid trip alien looking movie. If y'all have time, look it up. Jimmy and Stiggs. Jimmy and Stiggs is the name of it. The trailer's out. I don't know how wide of a release it's getting, but I saw this in theaters the other week, and it looks incredible. I must see it. So that's just a few of the things that are coming out.
And the end of this month, June 27th, is going to be Megan 2.0. So we're probably going to do, if you guys want to, do Megan.
F1. Oh, I don't. No. I do not care about the Megan movies.
Really?
I don't either.
No. No.
I kind of dug the last trailer I saw for that movie.
F1 with Brad Pitt comes out this weekend, or is it next weekend? I can't remember.
It's getting a lot of really interesting press.
I'm going to go see it. I like racing and stuff. But the movie itself looks pretty good. So that one, there's a lot of big movies coming out. So,
well, as for me, I would like Tex to know that right before we did this review, I did in fact watch Fast Zombies with Guns. And
I cannot wait. I've got that saved. I haven't seen it yet. I'm so gonna watch that.
It was a movie.
You know my sensibilities. I like bad horror films. Do you think I'll enjoy it?
If you like so bad it's good, there are good moments to it. There is a particular set of characters that I was like, okay, they're actually entertaining. I'm genuinely laughing because it's just funny. They're back and forths.
Right.
It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. If you find one that actually, I have a DVD and it has
now. Like, what's the naked women situation? Is there a boob count in this?
Dude, I couldn't see shit. This movie was either over fucking saturated and blinded, or it was too goddamn dark. I have no fucking idea. I honestly don't. And there were no subtitles, so I couldn't hear shit. And then you get blast. I mean, there may have been. I know the wife came out of the shower. There was.
I've got it saved either way. I'm gonna check it out. But I'm definitely watching it.
It was something.
Oh, and you were talking about The Walking Deceased. Apparently, that was made here in Texas, by the way. I didn't even know that. I was looking it up after we talked the other day. So, yeah, apparently it's a local film to make. So, there you go.
All right, well, DJ, spin that shit. So, anyway, we will be Thursday, I think we have How to Train Your Dragon. So, come see us then. Till then, we'll see you all guys on the other side. Bye-bye.
Adios.
It comes back weekend. Love it.
You know, Matt Carricker from Demolition Ranch was in a zombie movie called Strain 100 that is now available on Amazon Prime. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
Really? I've never seen that. I'll have to check that out.
Let's go give him some love.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.